Now, it's maybe a bit fitting that my last few videos have mainly discussed the issues between Lucasfilm and the Star Wars fandom, how it feels like there are problems between the two sides that are complicated and difficult, if not near impossible to fix. Though, yes, this should be the last video on this topic for a while, and it should be a quick one too. Anyway, I think it's fitting, or maybe a little ironic. I've been going on and on about this topic again. It's not the first time I have, as some of you in the comments have rightfully pointed out, because just the other day, Variety put out this article about how some in Hollywood, some of the companies or studios that own these very big, mega popular franchises like Star Wars, the ones with very passionate fan bases, how they are apparently turning to super fan focus groups to potentially stop them from making franchise damaging decisions with some of their stories. Though in all reality, that was only a very small part of the article, and towards the end, it was mainly about toxic fandoms, how they harass people, and how they're bad and evil in general, and how loud they can be despite being just this tiny minority in the fandoms. Pretty much the usual stuff we've come to expect when this topic is brought up by the media. Though, along with that, they also talk to some individuals at these studios, from marketing and so on, and ask them how do they deal with all the negativity towards them and what they're doing, with one apparently even saying that people are just out for blood regardless. They think the purity of the first version will never be replaced, or you've done something to upset the canon of a beloved franchise and they're going to take you down for doing so. But anyway, as interesting as that comment might be to discuss and dissect, before you either get hopeful or excited or dread the possibility of these companies like Lucasfilm potentially turning to super fan focus groups for help, and there were many on X who responded to this post without really reading the article clearly, and instead just looked at the headline because they seemed to think this meant fans would soon be kind of running Lucasfilm or something. But that is not even remotely close to what they're talking about doing, or should I say have already been doing. This wasn't an article about how, say, Lucasfilm is going to go out and assemble a team of Star Wars lore experts to oversee everything they do from here on out. It was just about how sometimes, again, the companies that own these franchises, we don't even know if Lucasfilm does this, but they will, as the article says, assemble a specialized cluster of superfans to assess possible marketing materials for a major franchise project. One studio exec they interviewed also said, "They're very vocal. They will just tell us if you do that, fans are going to retaliate." The article then says that these groups have even led studios to alter the projects, with the studio exec going on to say, "If it's early enough and the movie isn't finished yet, we can make those kinds of changes." In other words, though it does sound like these super fan groups have brought about some changes to maybe some projects, but I would say that is not the majority of what is happening. And I think for those who remember this from a couple years ago, the Lord of the Rings superfans that Amazon brought out for the release of Rings of Power, I think that is more what they're kind of talking about here, and less a team of, say, Star Wars YouTubers and such kind of coming together to go and run Lucasfilm for them. Because something like that is never, ever, ever going to happen. There is no way that Lucasfilm, are going to go out and hire some of the best writers and directors the industry has to offer, who no doubt will be paid large sums of money and have inflated egos, who are then going to listen to a bunch of Star Wars superfans from the internet tell them what to do with their movie. But again, that didn't stop a lot of people on X from thinking this was going to kind of be the end of the world, or the end of art as we know it, that creativity was going to die to the thunderous applause of toxic fans or something, who thought, yeah, after reading the headline only, they thought Lucasfilm was literally going to turn the creative process over to the fans who have been complaining the loudest for the last decade or so. And don't get me wrong, I don't think running ideas by, let's keep calling them superfans, is the worst one ever. And I'm not saying that because I'm in any way trying to apply for the position. I think there is a very fine line between running some ideas by them and they can comment on them and potentially avoid a disaster for the company, and then them doing literally anything more than that, them dictating stories in some capacity. I mean, if superfans were running the show at Lucasfilm or had some kind of veto power, let's say, they probably would have said no to a concept like Andor. They'd say, why do a story on a virtually no-name character everybody has forgotten? And yet that show turned out to be one of the greatest things Star Wars ever, in my opinion. So, no, don't let superfans run the show. And again, I don't think that would ever happen. That's, again, not what the article is even talking about. But if they, Lucasfilm, are in, say, the rough concept phase of a project or looking for the next project, if they maybe have a few ideas or something, yeah, asking superfans, hey, are any of these ideas going to cause an issue? I don't think that is the worst idea ever. They are, after all, or should be, trying to make their customer base happy, and asking your customers, hey, is this a good idea or a bad one? Again, that's not a terrible idea. I don't think that is going to destroy the creative process. Though, in all reality, what's funny, or maybe just plain sad about this, is that some of these studios have to do this or have done it. That they have brought in superfan focus groups, and like I said before, we don't know if Lucasfilm has ever done anything like this, but you would really think these companies wouldn't ever need to do that. You would think, internally, they'd already have people who know and love the franchise. That those in charge would be as big of a superfan as anyone else out there they may find, and that they would already know and understand what might piss the fans off. But anyway, I just thought I'd touch on this article and the topic because of my last few videos, and the fact that, again, I saw a lot of people, even heard from some people who thought they were, again, going to put together some sort of team of fans that would essentially now be in charge of story development at Lucasfilm going forward, when this is nothing of the sort. If you read the article, you'll find out it's nothing of the sort, and if I remember, I'll put a link to the article in the description below. And that nothing like this is ever going to happen one way or another. Well, that's all I got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell me what you think about this one. Do you think these companies, like Lucasfilm, potentially should go to fans from time to time and ask, hey, what do you think of this project? Is it going to cause problems? But whatever you think, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.